Strong and severe thunderstorms on the move across the area. I've got the very latest watches and warnings just ahead.
A Lexington police officer was sent to the hospital and another driver was sent to jail after a crash earlier today.
Another shooting at a movie theater, this time in Tennessee. We'll have the breaking details now at 4.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. Strong storms are headed our way. That's why today is a WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day. You're looking live at downtown Lexington, where it's dry for now, but that's going to change. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey joins us with the latest warnings. Chris?
Yeah, a lot of the warnings, Jennifer, so far coming out of southern Kentucky. Some big-time thunderstorms lifting northward out of the volunteer state of Tennessee, and we're getting these coming at us in waves. Let's take you into southern Kentucky now, where we have a severe thunderstorm warning, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, and a flash flood warning. First severe thunderstorm warning is out for McCreary, Pulaski, and Wayne counties. That'll go until 4:30. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning out until 4:30 for parts of McCreary and Whitley counties as well. And we also now have several counties with a flash flood warning. That is McCreary, Pulaski, and Wayne counties. That includes Whitley City, just to the east of the Monticello area. Let's get you caught up on exactly where the worst of the weather is. Right on top of the Williamsburg area. That is working its way on into town out of parts of the Whitley City area. Around Stearns, getting in on some heavy downpours too. Another severe thunderstorm that is located just to the northeast of Monticello. That'll cross over into southern parts of Pulaski County toward the Burnside area. And then look at the strong storms from Columbia and point south from there out of Adair County. Line of thunderstorms to the north has weakened just a little bit. That is likely to pick up a little more steam now. What usually happens, we'll start to see additional little thunderstorms popping on the leading edge of that. That is working its way into parts of central Kentucky over the next hour and change. So rains in the Lexington metro within an hour or so should begin to ramp up. But again, watching that increase coming out of Tennessee. And the main show is still well to our west. You can actually see the spin here, Jennifer, with an area of low pressure that will work its way across the Bluegrass State as we go into your Thursday. And for that reason, just about the entire state is under a flash flood watch through early Friday morning. We'll come back in a little bit. We'll break down how much rain to expect and get you caught up on any more warnings as they're issued.
Thanks, Chris. We're tracking a breaking news alert near Nashville, Tennessee. There's been a shooting at a movie theater, and the shooter is dead. About 2 this afternoon, police responded to reports of an active shooter at a movie theater in Antioch. That's a suburb of Nashville. Investigators say an officer went into the Carmike Hickory 8 theater and the suspect shot him. They say the officer shot back, then a SWAT team came in and more shots were fired. They found the suspect dead. They say the shooter also had a hatchet and one person might have been injured from that. Authorities are now checking 2 backpacks found on the shooter. An arrest has been made for a crash that injured a Lexington police officer. It happened about 10:30 this morning on Elm Tree Lane near downtown Lexington. Police say they were trying to make a traffic stop when the driver sped off, eventually crashing into the police cruiser. After a short chase, police arrested the man. Victor Puente has the latest in our top story at 4.
Police tell us they had been chasing this driver moments before this crash, but had ended the pursuit for safety reasons. They say he drove between several buildings and hit a cruiser. That chase started a little before 11 when police say they witnessed a narcotics transaction and tried to pull over the driver of this SUV. Lexington police tell us they stopped it because it got too dangerous. A few minutes after it ended, a couple of officers were driving down Elm Tree Lane, and police say the driver they had been chasing came off a sidewalk that runs between Rand Avenue and Elm Tree Lane and collided with a cruiser. A second officer driving behind that hit cruiser witnessed the crash. People living nearby tell us after a short foot chase, that man was arrested. The officer was taken by ambulance to the hospital. We're told his injuries are not life-threatening. That driver is charged with trafficking, fleeing and evading, assault, and wanton endangerment.
Police cruiser was knocked into a front yard, could have been knocked into someone. So there's a lot of really bad scenarios that could have materialized if circumstances had been such.
That driver will also be charged with receiving stolen property. Lieutenant Combs says the SUV he wrecked had been reported stolen. He says other charges are possible. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
We've just learned the officer is Christopher Burlisle. Police say the suspect is 26-year-old Wesley Brown. Brown's been charged with trafficking, driving on a suspended license, fleeing or evading, assault, wanton endangerment, and receiving stolen property. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis has filed a federal lawsuit against Governor Steve Beshear. Davis accuses the governor of infringing on her religious freedom for ordering her and other clerks to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. The ACLU has sued Davis for refusing to issue marriage licenses after the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage. We'll have a closer look at the latest lawsuit on WKYT News at 5. A hearing has been delayed in Lexington, where a mother is accused of killing her son with vinegar. Dia Adams is charged with reckless homicide. Her 5-year-old son Joseph died in 2011. Yesterday, a medical examiner testified she found cuts and bruises on the boy's body. She believes those were caused when the mother forced him to drink vinegar and the boy fought back. The defense argues vinegar did not cause the boy's death. The case will resume tomorrow afternoon. ATT blames a hardware-related problem for yesterday's widespread wireless outage in Kentucky and several other states, but still won't say exactly what that problem was. Tens of thousands of ATT customers couldn't use their phones for about 4 hours. The outage also affected some Verizon and T-Mobile customers. Kentucky Emergency Management says a fiber line was cut in western Kentucky. Customers could use their phones by 7:30 last night. Our reporters are working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott joins us from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Good afternoon to you, Jennifer. Police credit witnesses in helping them arrest a southern Kentucky woman for a deadly stabbing. Barbourville police say 38-year-old Don Woolham was found injured on Pitzer Street in Barbourville. He died at the hospital. Witnesses told police Woolham was stabbed by Jessica Hubbard. She was arrested at a home nearby and charged with murder. We'll have an update in the case on WKYT News at 5. Prosecutors plan to file more charges against a dog owner. Chris Pope already faces charges in Lincoln County after investigators say 7 of his dogs attacked a woman last week. During a hearing in Boyle County today, the prosecutor says additional charges are pending against Pope for 11 dogs rescued from a property on Shakertown Road. Another hearing was set for next week. The judge also said Pope cannot own or care for other animals due to the nature of the charges against him. We'll have more on this story coming up on WKYT News at 5:30. And the Jefferson Davis statue will stay in the state capitol. That decision coming today from the Historic Properties Advisory Commission. Governor Beshear and the candidates for governor had called for the statue to be removed from the Capitol Rotunda after a racially motivated shooting in a South Carolina church in June. The commission voted 7-2 today to keep the statue and to add an educational component to the display for students and visitors who come to the Capitol each year. Jefferson Davis was president of the Confederacy and was born in Kentucky. We'll have more details from today's meeting at 4:30. That is a look at just some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thank you, Amber. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Next month, Congress votes on the Iran nuclear deal, and President Obama is making his strongest argument yet for a yes vote. He says it's the strongest non-proliferation deal ever negotiated. But critics, including many in Congress, aren't convinced yet. Emily Schmidt has the latest on the debate from Washington.
President Obama's 50-minute pitch for the Iran nuclear deal, he said, boiled down to 2 options.
The choice we face is ultimately between diplomacy or some form of war.
Maybe not tomorrow or 3 months from now, he said, but soon. The challenge is that probably even sooner, by mid-September, Congress must vote on the deal.
It's clear this deal is making members of both parties uneasy, and with good reason.
Before Congress even read it, a majority of Republicans declared their virulent opposition.
President Obama said in Washington it's inevitable that any deal, even one worked out with major world leaders, will face scrutiny through a political prism. Critics say that scrutiny is pragmatism about Iran, not politics.
It's difficult to have this trust but verify attitude when we're actually not given the ability to verify how they're verifying.
Congress should reject a bad deal.
Anti-deal advocacy groups are running national ads like this one. Their critics say it's time to stop complaining.
If Congress kills this deal, we will lose more than just constraints on Iran's nuclear program. We will have lost something more precious, America's credibility as a leader of diplomacy.
President Obama said many of the Iran deal opponents supported Iraq intervention. This time, he argued, diplomacy should get its chance before military deployment. In Washington, I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Kentucky Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul has made the cut for this week's Republican presidential debate. Fox News selected the top 10 candidates for tomorrow night's debate in Cleveland. Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, Mike Huckabee, Ben Carson, Senator Ted Cruz, Senator Marco Rubio, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and Ohio Governor John Kasich were also selected. The remaining candidates will take part in another debate hours before the main event. The lottery is now betting on convenience, how it's hoping to hit it big with people in a hurry at the pump. Next on WKYT News at 4.